Hello world of sim racing and welcome to another episode of Michi's Esports Diaries. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed F1. And well, we have another few topics around the past F1 race, the Qatar Grand Prix, to rewind. So first of all, I have been very happy and really amazed about Fernando Alonso's third place and his podium drive. Like, that was some probably a properly unexpected result, I think. In general, like, Alpine looked so strong over that weekend, getting Alonso and Ocon both comfortably into Q3. And I think also, what have they been, P5 and PA or P7 in the qualifyings? So that was quite a remarkable achievement. Yes, they had to qualify themselves on the soft tire. But eventually, as we all saw, the soft tire has not even been a bad race tire. And that way, like, Alpine did a pretty good job. And yeah, really, like that team radio. Esteban needs to defend like a lion. It's like a classic Alonso moment. And yeah, I mean, everything was done perfectly well, yeah. He jumped Gasly into second place right after the start, enabled his strategy to work well. I mean, you know, as an Alpine behind the Mercedes or behind the Red Bull, you have clean air anyway. So he was leading the midfield pack, leading the followers pack. And I mean, that made him push and drive for his strategy. Of course, one has to say that unlike other races, for some reason AlphaTauri was struggling in the long run, was not going quicker, but rather going slower. And I think they had a topic and an issue around tire degradation, because both Gasly and Tsunoda pretty quickly just dropped off. Now there is two possibilities. Either the AlphaTauris got their setup wrong, kind of treating the tires too hard, or the Alpine is not really a bad chassis. Because remember, Alonso did he do nearly 30 laps on the soft tire? He was out for a considerable long amount of time. So yeah, I mean, the chassis can't be that bad, especially since Alonso did not significantly drop in the pace. And many teams were going to the one-stop. The most clearest one-stop to me was Valtteri Bottas until his tire decided to explode. But again, coming back to the thing, like that Alpine, it may have lacked some straight line speed, as we saw in Brazil, as we also saw how easy the overtakes of other cars were conducted on those Alpine. So they may be down on top speed, but I don't think that their chassis is considerably bad. Like, there needs to be some performance in that car. Like, you know, we always speak about how good that McLaren is, especially in the straight line speed, how good the McLaren is overall, because it has won a race. It could have won another race. It got a great straight line speed. And then you have to come back to the fact that Alpine, through the course of the year, I think they had races where they did not even make it into Q2. I can't recall which one that was. Was it Monza, perhaps? Potentially because of the Renault engine. But, you know, that is just guessing right now. But, yeah. Long story short, I was really happy and really enjoyed seeing Fernando Alonso as being over 40 years old on the F1 podium, and actually enjoying it so much. Was great to see him back up there. But yeah, will they be able to keep the final this final momentum up? Remember, they're fighting against AlphaTauri for P5 in the constructors. They have been tied before, now with Alonso's P3 and Ocon in the points and Tsunoda out of the points, and I think Gasly not too high up in the top 10, they have great chances for going for that 5th place, which is a shame for AlphaTauri, because actually that team looked quite strong for the majority of the race. Like Gasly had some good one-offs. Gasly was, especially in the last couple of races, a lot of times in free practices and in qualifying around the top 6, 7, sometimes even P4. He qualified in 2nd place effectively, or in 3rd in the end. No, in 4th. So many penalties again. Oh my goody. I think in 4th he did qualify, and Alonso in 5th, and Ocon must have been 8th or 7th. Was Ocon even ahead of Bottas? I can't recall. I think it might be the case that Ocon was ahead of Bottas. So Alpine seriously looked strong, whereas Ferrari dropped a bit off, McLaren dropped a bit off. Charles Leclerc had a chassis issue in qualifying, but still, they didn't look overall too strong over the entire weekend. And in that regards, will be interesting to see how Alpine can secure that 5th place. Talking about 3rd place between McLaren and Ferrari, if not for big surprises, I would assume that Ferrari got that 3rd place literally sealed. Lately, McLaren struggled to put in the performance. Ricciardo had to retire in Brazil. Yet, though, I think yesterday he was P11, P12, so out of the points. Norris also, he had to take an engine penalty here, and then this tire puncture in Brazil. It's just all very unfortunate for them. If I would have, by feeling, by expectation, by imagination, if I were to choose a team that should go on the 3rd place in the Constructors, I'd pick McLaren. Because that team has literally worked hard for. They got a race win. They got actually a 1-2. I think in general they got the better overall results in the races. Personally, I also think they do less F-ups than Ferrari, especially on the strategy side. Put that Russia race aside. But effectively, I think, just mentally and just from feeling point of view, I see McLaren a lot further up than Ferrari. And yes, Ferrari has got great 5th, 6th, 7th places this year. Carlos Sainz has been a phenomenal reinforcement for the Scuderia. And I think Charles Leclerc also didn't expect his teammate to give him that hard of a time, isn't it? So from that point of view, of course, Ferrari has also had a great season. But if it's just like rewind the season real quick, I'd say McLaren is that notch better. But in terms of the points, it doesn't look like it at the moment. And with the momentum that everyone speaks about in so many aspects, currently on the side of Ferrari, especially when you look at the results, I am not 100% convinced that McLaren will be able to fight back, which is a shame. They should be 3rd, and for me, they are one of the teams to look out for next year. That's for sure. They have done an incredible development, sadly, ever since Alonso left. But I'm pretty sure that Alonso has put the team on the right path. And then it was Norris to take on. And, obviously they've done some structural changes with getting Andrea Seidel and Zach Brown doing even more and more of the CEO stuff. Interesting to see what they can do for next year. I have higher expectations of them. I certainly have them on the list for being a team that can create a championship winning car. Like McLaren has the technology, they do have the knowledge, they do have the fundamentals. They do have the infrastructure that takes it to build a championship-winning car. I think after Red Bull and Mercedes, maybe Ferrari, and then McLaren is the team with the next biggest and next strongest factory and history, of course. But let's see what next season is going to bring. I think it's going to reshuffle all cards. And everyone got their clear chances again. But, of course, this year isn't done. This year is not in any way decided. And that brings us back to the topic of topics, like the headlines of all headlines. The fight between Red Bull, Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. Interesting. We have seen a quite dominant Mercedes. And I know that last week I said, I'm not 100% sure whether that track layout is really suiting the Mercedes as good. Because looking just at the track map, and I haven't done enough research probably. Looking just at the track map, I was like, nah, those corners look quite tight and slow. In fact, they were pretty fast, and the first thing I was doing after free practice 1 was going to R Factor 2 saying a laser scanned Qatar track. When? Because it looked phenomenal fun to drive on it. The way the cars and qualifying flew through turn 11 to 15 in 7th gear over 250 kph, mind blowing. It's just so crazy. But it is a fascinating track, as we've seen. It created kind of good racing. I was surprised that people were able to follow so closely in the final turn. One overtake I do not get out of my mind in that regard was when Sergio Perez came around the final turn, offset to Ocon. So Ocon was on the inside, and Perez was driving around the outside of the racing line, actually into the dust, but he could keep the same cornering speed. It was so crazy. I was like, how the hell did he not suffer that much from dirty air? But then Perez outbroke himself into turn 1 like 4 times in a row. So that was quite interesting to see. Also that turn 1, to me, it was full of suspense every time people were doing, moves into this turn 1, because you could have gone round the outside and ran wide and everything's fine, but you could also go round the outside, ran too wide, and the other car on the inside can out-accelerate you in the later part of the corner. So that was quite a tricky one, as we've seen a strong battle between Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. That was really side by side, really on the edge, but that corner really invited for wheel action going on. Apart from that, obviously, the track didn't really provide a good other overtaking opportunity, which obviously for the racing point of view was a little bit of an issue. But I think we have seen more boring races than the Qatar Grand Prix, obviously besides the Pirelli drama that we are going to talk about later as well. Anyway, coming back to the topic, Mercedes versus Red Bull. So there has been it annoys me a bit. It annoys me very much that the media is also adding up to the full drama. And yes, we are experiencing and witnessing a battle of the centuries, literally, not battle of the centuries, battle of the decade. Against, I've already mentioned this, against King Louis on the throne, and young Max that wants to kick Lewis off that throne. The same as Alonso, Schumacher, the same as, Häkkinen and Schumacher to a certain extent. And also, of course, Mercedes versus Red Bull. Of course, Red Bull is a 4-time world champion, whilst Max is not, but still, like in that entire hybrid area, no other team than Mercedes has won the championships. And they could even lock that out. It is now the next big rule change for 2022, and that also marks the era of the current F1 cars. And there has been 8 years of Mercedes dominance if they win the championship, which I think as a team they can, although that is a topic that we're going to put on late as well. So yeah, it's going to be a long episode again. Anyway, we see both teams, and coming back to the point, like, you know, pinpointing at each other, suing each other, annoying each other, and the media is just always putting out the same question. It's like, oh, Toto Wolff, have you heard what Christian Horner has been said? And then, oh, Christian, have you heard what Toto Wolff has been said? And like, hey, let them do the freaking job, let them do the talking on the track, let them race. Let them race. Disclaimer, not let them race like Max Verstappen and Hamilton did in lap 48 in Brazil, because I still believe that was against the rules. FIA is another small topic for later on. But effectively, like, you know, all those Mercedes and Red Bull people, they are fighting each other. Like, you know, Red Bull's accusing Mercedes that using an illegal rear wing that kind of, like, the lower part of the flap leans backwards at a certain speed. And at the same time, in the free practices, they have a flexible rear wing. Okay, that flexible rear wing was A, not intended, B, probably bad for aerodynamics, but most importantly, and I believe it would have been against the rules, full stop. Because I'm pretty sure that little lollipop that they've put between the rear wing on an open DRS, that would have not stand the test if there is a bit force put on it, because otherwise that flap wouldn't move up and downwards so quickly. It was remarkable though, you know, in the actual live picture, you haven't seen the movement as bad. Just when the super slow-mo came in, you saw how quickly that wing flexed. And clear indication as in why 60 Hertz may not be enough for gaming or for seeing a super fluent picture. Anyway, so Mercedes rear wing has now been put under investigation, so to say. It's not an actual investigation, what I have heard. So it's not about being a penalty. It's not about being a disqualification or whatever. It is basically just another flexi wing test, and it's another and a new way of checking this. And I think Mercedes will then be asked to either not run that rear wing or redesign it. So Red Bull has finally, what they believe is their power advantage, or their performance advantage of Mercedes, has finally found it, and obviously also found a way, with the help of FIA, to see whether that rear wing is and all in contention and is within the regulations. And that's alright. That is sport, that is racing, that is all what we want. Like, you know, we have people saying Mercedes is cheating on that engine now anyway. I personally also want that Mercedes to be legal, because I highly disguise what happened 2019 with Ferrari, and I'd rather like to have Red Bull won the championship if their car's alright. Yet obviously their car has been, like, their rear wing has been fixed for 3 consecutive races. In between have always been changed and repaired parts between qualifying and race on that Red Bull rear wing at the same time. So they are both really on the edge of everything, I want to say. And I mean, it's refreshing to see. This week we saw Mercedes being extremely quick on the track. Maybe the Mercedes guys have actually expected that race, and that was probably the reason why they did not put in the rocket engine and kind of save that for the races yet to come. How Jeddah will pan out, I have no clue. Again, it's looking like a lot of high-speed turns. That looks more like high-speed left and rights and so on, and especially long straights. So that could probably even be a track suiting better to Mercedes. For Abu Dhabi, I believe it will suit better to Red Bull still, despite a little bit of resurfacing and a little bit of rebuilding. But out of those 19 or 20 turns that that the Abu Dhabi circuit offers, turn 1 is medium speed, turn 2 and 3 are medium to high speed, and that's about it really. Like, you have the double right hand kink that is flat out anyway in the second or third sector. But any other turn is third, fourth, fifth gear, low speed. Maybe the penultimate turn is considered a high speed turn, but overall the majority of turns is low speed, whereas the majority of turns at Qatar has been high to medium speed. So looking more like a Red Bull track, the final race. And then obviously we got it down. If I had to do predictions, I think Lewis is gonna win the Jeddah Grand Prix, the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, and I believe Max is going to win Abu Dhabi, and then that would mean probably, like, you know, fastest lap points back and forth between 6 to 8 points will be the gap in the end in the championship. I do not count Mercedes out for Abu Dhabi, but I think Abu Dhabi could be a Red Bull track, unless Mercedes is somehow able to keep, you know, what if FIA says no, that rear wing is fine? That could be, I think, the last chance for Mercedes to keep it up, as they would make up grounds on the straights so much, and there's quite a significant amount of straight. And also, what they could run as Mercedes on that Abu Dhabi track, because there's only 1 or 2 really high speed turns, they could run their collapsible rear end suspension, if that is a topic. I don't know, it, like, as I say, it has disappeared, but if it is a topic, I think Abu Dhabi could be another track where we could see the system in place. So let's see. Apart from that, obviously, for a Red Bull point of view, was a quite frightening performance of Lewis and Mercedes. But that said, we've said the same for Red Bull in Mexico, where Mercedes had no chance whatsoever. So, interesting. Anyway, coming up to the next topic, FIA rules and processing. What shall I say? Those penalties, as I heard that guys were under investigation after qualifying, I quite couldn't believe my eyes or my ears, because there was a yellow flag for a split second of a moment, and then it was called track clear. And it was track clear indeed. Of course, it wasn't clear as in, like, Gasly was going slow there, but race control has deemed the track to be clear, so everyone was pushing. That was what everyone saw on the dash. And then we have a marshal first waving yellow, then waving double yellow, and according to my information, without any instruction or any ask for it by race control. Like, the board, the LED board, before the start-finish straight showed a white flag, not a yellow flag. So it wasn't said there is danger, you have to lift. There was like, you were warned because of a slow car, which could also happen when guys are on their outlap, when you're coming you know, coming on a hot lap. So all those post-qualifying penalties, they were a bit of a meme because... and here we are back at the topic of consistency or inconsistency. You know how much I still shake my head about the fact that Max versus Hamilton has not been a penalty. And even more I shake my head about that the appeal has been rejected. Like, that is so crazy. Of course, now you can say it's no big new evidence that you see the onboard camera from a different point of view. But guys, this is crazy. This is not racing. I know people will be like, oh, this is great racing because they just, you know, let them drive and so on. And the rules are broken. And according to the rules, this move may have actually been legal. But dear FIA, please fix that rule because such racing should be highly illegal. Full stop. And after all that stuff, yes, according to the rules, people said it was alright, it wasn't a penalty worth whatever, but you know, do you really have to? I mean, yes, marshals are the governing object on the tracks, because it's not the LED board that gives or says what is actually happening. If the marshals put the flag out, that is the priority thing. So yes, according to the rules, the penalties have been probably justified. But come on, like, FIA, we're living in the 21st century. How on earth can this happen? Really? And of course, Max has been the one that suffered the most with a double yellow and a five place grid penalty. I mean, no one should doubt about the race result anyway, because it was always to happen like this. Mercedes have been quicker at all times, and with an aggressive two-stop strategy, they would have gotten Lewis into the front, no doubt. Even if Max would have won the start from second place. So, at the end of the day, it killed a little bit of race day, because it was always going to happen that Verstappen got into second. It was just a matter of time. As we've all seen, it happened within 5 laps. But yeah, as a matter of fact, FIA got so much stuff to sort right now. I can't wait to see the next F-up. I can't wait to see the next race with more controversial stuff, whether that happens on track or off the track. Like also the interviews on the media between Horner and Wolf. I highly disguise this, like, you know, all that psychologically, you know exactly what I mean. It is, oh my god. All that drama, all that war, all that fighting, like, this is so unnecessary. It so much kills the sport. Like, you know, Toto Wolff standing in front of the camera saying, let's see what Red Bull is about to protest against us next time. And then you have Horner standing in front of the camera saying, oh, we're not like licking some ass like other people are doing or whatnot. Like, you know, put that aside. I mean, okay, it's Formula 1, it belongs to the sport. You do it everywhere, driver do it between each other, team guys do it between each other, and everyone is like drawing the big picture of rivalry between each other. I can't listen to it anymore. Just get that season done, get that season dusted. Whoever may win, wins. If Red Bull wins it in the end, it's deserved. I believe they have the better package, they have the better car. Now everyone is already saying, oh, what if not for the tire explosion of Max and Baku? What if Lewis haven't sent it into the wall in Silverstone? Yeah, but we can do that what if on the other side as well, you know. What if Hamilton did not outbroke himself with his magic button in Azerbaijan? There's 25 points gone there as well. 100%. I'm pretty sure he got the inside line for on the move on Paris. So at the end of the day, I believe it levels out, it equals out each other. They've both suffered kind of comparable amount of issues. I may agree that Max Verstappen probably suffered a bit more, with Hungaroring on top of it. So yeah, maybe I take that back and say that Red Bull has suffered a bit more. But I mean, that is Formula 1, you know. That is sometimes how stuff is decided, and on 21 occasions it's likely that stuff goes wrong at some point for some guys. Like, you know, Mercedes is not safe from an engine failure or whatever themselves, so it can happen to anyone. And that brings me back to the final topic today, Pirelli. Pirelli got some work to do for 2023, that's for sure. As Qatar Grand Prix will be the host of a Formula 1 race again. And the issues we've seen on this track this year are a bit alarming, I think. From a specific point of view, I would have guessed that Turkey and Silverstone has put more load on the front tires than the Qatar race. On the other hand, though, yeah, you have turn 1, which is high to medium speed corner. Turn 3, 4, 5 puts a lot of load on the left hand side. Then I think that is probably part of the issue. I would need to do some reading and research. I haven't browsed the news pages yet. But you know, when going through turn 7, and then there is this A left swing into turn 9, drivers are leaving half of the car onto the green AstroTurf, and it's always the inside part of the tire that has died. So what if these curbs have actually damaged the tires? Because what I don't get is, how is a Fernando Alonso able to do nearly 30 laps with a soft tire without any issue? And then it's even a hard tire that doesn't hold up for 30 laps of a race distance. Yes, Bottas broke the medium tires, but we've seen tire punctures for Russell and for Latifi. They were both on the hard tires. We've also seen it for, was it McLaren? No, McLaren did do safety stops. But it was always the same failure on the 3 or 4 punctures that we saw. And that raises either the concern that there was something on the track cutting them off, maybe those high curbs, maybe, you know, going over the curbs all the time. It could be the high loads in general as well, of course. Like, as I've already mentioned, turn 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 16. So 10 of the 16 turns going to the left, and all of them being more than 150, 160 kph at the very least. So that obviously puts a lot of load on the tires, 100%. And yeah, from that point of view, I mean, I can't tell whether it was a construction issue on the Pirelli tire, whether it was an overload, or whether it was an externally damaged tires. I'm pretty sure that Pirelli will investigate and will come up with a solution. What speaks against the theory of an externally damaged tire is the fact that, you know, those tires will be checked after free practices, will be cut into pieces and analyzed. And if there would have been something on the track that put cuts onto the tires, that would have probably been seen after free practices already. So yeah, interesting one. Interesting one. Pirelli got some headaches for sure, especially since it was C3, C2 and the C1 tire, so the hardest compounds available, and even the hardest compound did not hold up. So that was quite alarming, I think, and that, I mean, it killed Bottas' race and it killed all the other races as well, but it really, really, really killed Bottas' podium drive, I believe. Perez would have come back to pit road. The gap between Perez and Bottas was, at the moment it happened, 20 seconds. So virtually just 4 or 5 seconds apart from each other. And Valtteri had a really good speed on that used medium. Whereas Valtteri, of course, was struggling a lot during the race. And that could be another topic we could talk about. Like, it is so frustrating to see as a Mercedes fan how that driver kind of drops off the performance behind other cars so much. You can see Perez overtaking. You can see Max and Hamilton overtaking so badly. Okay, Hamilton had the rocket engine last time in Brazil. But still, Bottas behind other cars is struggling so much. Note, see how Toto Wolff has reacted and actually motivated him to go past the other guys in the beginning of the race. And I don't know whether it has to do with the fact that he's leaving Mercedes, or, I mean, he has the speed. He just probably hasn't the killer instinct or the spirit for it. I don't know. And obviously it's easy for me sitting here not being in the car and having no idea what I'm talking about, of course. But beginning of the season I was like, yeah, Bottas is the better wingman. Meanwhile, I'd say Perez is the better wingman. And as a Mercedes fan, one can only hope that George Russell comes in, fits in his place, maybe sorts himself being the second driver in the first year, and then maybe we have a Mercedes championship fight at some point going on again. That would be great as well. Would be easy for me to figure the person I'd support for. Anyway, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Another race, another interesting topics, like we had Pirelli, again we had FIA on the boards, we had the Mercedes performance, which could be strong enough to win the championship after all. Whether that will happen, we will see. And yeah, if you guys have any opinions, if you guys have any ideas, if you guys have any mention, any contra comments to what I just said, then put it down in the comment area below and we're gonna have a look. Other than that, guys, have a good start into the week. And yeah, we see you there for the next episode of Michi's Esport Diary on the upcoming weekend. Guys, have a good time, have pleasant people around you, and enjoy yourself. See you, goodbye.